Oh, frick, I just pulled it up and then I clicked to a different tab. One
Keep us
second.
in.
Let's start over. Or I'll keep it in. We'll see. Hi, ho, and welcome to the Boy Time Podcast. I'm your host, Tulsa McLean, back at it again with a new episode. And as always, I'm joined by Babby. Oh, we have a fun and exciting episode planned. It is, of course, week 5 of Elvis Marathon. But before we get to that, we have some gaming news to talk about. And because we sometimes talk about gaming, there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about recently,
Mm-mm.
which is odd. I think it is kind of funny the arc that this show has gone on. Because, like, when we first kind of evolved it to be not just us talking, I wanted it to be like entertainment news. And a big part of that was like gaming news. And so every week we would be talking about gaming news. And then eventually over time, that section got shorter and shorter. And now there's hardly any gaming news coming out that I'm excited for. So we don't really talk about gaming. Every once in a while, we'll talk about it. If a new Pokemon trailer comes out, you might talk about it.
Which
Uh,
came out 2 weeks ago and didn't talk about it.
and we didn't talk about it. Okay, so maybe not.
There was nothing that I wanted to say.
Okay, fair enough. um, but this week, I thought it would be kind of interesting because the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct happened. That happened yesterday, as of us recording it, or almost 2 days ago, because in our time zone, it started at 6 a.m. So I don't think anyone was. Well, I mean, I was up, but I didn't watch it until after at work because I just I I forgot about it. Honestly, I was going to watch it while I was sorting mail, but then I forgot, and then I remembered halfway through delivering the route. I'm like, oh, I have that to look forward to. So then I watched it. So, have you seen the stuff?
I got the top line. I didn't watch the entire direct,
Okay.
but I
I
kind of got the gist.
Yes. I didn't really watch the whole thing either. I was basically just like, oh, this is an interesting part, and then I'll watch that. And then the next one's like, this is how voice chat is going to work on the Switch 2. And I'm like, not interested because we're not gonna do
Who's
that.
going to do that?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are going to do that. And the voice chat system actually does look pretty interesting and cool if it's well done, which I don't know. Nintendo seems to have a pretty hit or miss record when it comes to internet services. So I don't know if that will actually work, but the tech demo looked great. So I just kind of like went in and out. So I guess we'll talk about that first. And I wanted to zoom out a little bit because I think that this direct is making very specific slash pointed shots in a way that I think Nintendo is positioning themselves to be competitive in the quote like console wars for the first time since the GameCube. And even then, the GameCube was going up against the PS2. So didn't quite win that battle. Barely. It was a close one. I'll say that about the GameCube slash PS2 slash Xbox. I think the GameCube sold more than the Xbox, the original Duke Xbox. But I don't think, well, it obviously didn't outsell the PS2 because that was like the highest selling game console of all time until the first Switch came out. Now that is the highest selling video game console of all time, mainly because everyone bought one to play Animal Crossing during the quarantine. So
It was worth it.
it was worth it. But yeah, I think that it's kind of interesting. The Switch 2 is appealing to the hardcore gamer, which is a term I don't really like, but it's appealing more to that side of the gaming community than the more casual audience that they have already been attracting with the Switch Wii era that are in. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to look at what all the consoles are doing right now, the big game companies, and what's going on, and is this a good move for Nintendo going forward? But first, let's talk about what's in the Direct. First of all, the Direct came out yesterday, and the console is coming out in 2 months. That's the way to do it. Uh, Please, everyone, take notes. This is the Tyler the Creator model. That's what I'm going to call it. I know plenty of people did it before Tyler the Creator did it with Chromacopia or whatever that album
All
is
his
called.
albums.
Are they all just like they're coming out next week?
Yeah, most of them have.
Okay. So then I'm just going to call it the Tyler the Creator model, where you just say, hey, here's a little thing. I'll be back in basically no time. It's the you have two models in my head. You have the Tyler the Creator model, and you have the Bethesda model, where you show a PNG of Elder Scrolls 7. I think that's close to 8 years ago now, and I think it's just started going in major development. So that's not how you do it. You follow Tyler the Creator example and don't follow Bethesda's example. And that's pretty much true 99% of the time. Don't ever do what Bethesda is doing ever, pretty much. So, Nintendo Direct, the Switch is coming out in June, or I guess Switch 2. This is my one and only gripe with this console is that it has the worst name ever. Switch 2. Nintendo, their naming convention has been a little all
Switch to
over
a
the place.
switcheroo.
It could be a Switch 2. They should have called it the Switcheroo.
A switcheroo. That's on par with the Wii U.
That is on par. I wasn't a fan of the Wii U's naming
No,
either.
yeah. That's
But I do kind of think that this is going to cause some confusion in the same way that the Wii U did. In a way that, like, if, a lot of the games that they're going to be making are aimed towards young kids, or at least are games that young kids like Kirby games or Mario games or whatever. And a lot of families during the time of the Wii U didn't realize that it was going to be a whole other console. They just thought it was going to be the gamepad that you could pair to the Wii, and then magically graphics would get better. I'm not even saying that as like a people are so dumb for not getting how like hardware works, because it is kind of a misleading name. Be like Wii U and all the marketing is for the gamepad, then people are obviously going to think, oh, this is just a thing that I connect to the Wii. But no. I do think that Switch 2 is better than that. I think there's going to be less confusion because there's a number and people know what numbers mean. So I think we're fine there. I just think it's kind of lazy in general. But I guess if it is just going to be a Switch 2, might as well call it a Switch 2. And I guess I'll get the headlines out of the way. It's going to be $450 for just the standard version. They are also releasing a bundle with the new Mario Kart game, and that is for $500. I don't know how expensive Switch games are going to be. I don't know if they've said
I saw 80.
80.
I saw 80.
Okay. Well, if that's okay, yes, this is correct. Mario Kart World will cost $80. Uh, okay. Maybe they are trying to position themselves to be competing with PlayStation and Xbox, except now they're competing to see who can have the highest prices. Um, imagine like an 8-year-old asking their mom for an $80 Kirby Star car game. I don't know if that'll go over as well as when they were $40, but it's fine. That's inflation for you, baby. And I guess that would be kind of worth it then to get the Switch 2 bundle with Mario Kart for 50 instead of 80. It's a
Yeah.
decent deal.
You gotta get the Mario Kart with the new Nintendo console. That's just how it works.
I guess so. I guess so. I mean, Wii U didn't have Mario Kart until the very end,
No,
and I think,
that's why it sucked.
I mean, that's the best one. It's so good that the Switch one
It is.
just ported it,
Yep.
and then they never got a new
It was
one.
infinitely better because it was on a better console.
It's the same game. Well,
Yeah,
okay, it's mostly the same game except now you can have two power ups. That's the only
true.
difference, and there's new maps, which are great. So, because I eventually bought the bundle of all
Yeah,
this stuff, and it's very nice.
it is very good.
Actually, no, I don't think I did that. I think I just got the like expansion thing, the online expansion pack, because that had a bunch of N64 games that I had never played, and it also gave you those deluxe pass. It was included. So there's a little trick. It's not a trick. They advertise it, but I don't know. That's what I did. Um, so yeah, that's the price. Very expensive. I guess it's on par. I think a PS5 with the disc is 500. Let me just double check that. Uh, yes. Okay, disk drive is 450, and then regular is like 400. Okay, so I guess it's about the same. It's comparable, which is an interesting choice. I think a lot of people got the Switch because it's cheap. I mean, you can get a Switch Lite for 200 bucks, I think. Am I Does that sound correct? Now I'm like
I
double
feel
guessing
like it.
myself.
Yeah,
Switch Lite, yeah, 200. You can get a refurbished for like 150. So, yeah, it's uh it's more expensive, which I think is fine. It's whatever. A lot of the big concerns with the Switch, or a lot of complaints that people had with the Switch, are being alleviated. Big one was storage space.
mhm,
I didn't know that the original Switch only had 32 gigabytes of storage. That's crazy.
unacceptable.
That's insane. I know that that console came out in 2017, but even then, like Call of Duty games were like 50 gigs at least.
The current one's like 250.
Yeah, that's why I was accounting for inflation.
Yeah.
And I mean file inflation. Not the sexy kind, I guess you could say. Um, but now it's 256, which is an odd number, but I guess it's fine. Still not a lot, but I don't think. Well, okay, I was going to say I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot for Nintendo games, but that's not really the market that they're going for 100% now. Um, so yeah, decent storage space. The dock is better. Now it supports up to 4K with HDR. I saw that like they listed like the performances for the new Metroid Prime, and there was like a performance mode and a quality mode or whatever you call it. Uh, Graphic heavy mode. And the graphic heavy mode was still locked at 60 FPS uh with like HDR, and I think it was 4K, or was it 8K? It was something crazy. There was like a really high number. I didn't know that a Switch would go that high. So maybe it was 8K. But then the performance mode was like 4K with 120 FPS locked. I'm like, well, that's crazy. I don't even think like performance mode on a PS5 is like 120 FPS. So uh, that's pretty cool. The screen is better. Doesn't I always play on the console version on the dock because I like the TV. But it is nice. There's a better kickstand too with like adjustable uh, lengths, so you can control the angle a little bit better. The thumbsticks are bigger. That was a big plus for me because I don't have little baby hands. So I'm glad that they're making those sticks a little meatier. I don't think that the Joy-Cons themselves are going to be bigger, which is a big disappointment to me. I was kind of hoping that they'd abandon the Switch model just because I hate the Joy-Cons. But which is almost, oxymoronic. You can't hate a Joy-Con, or you shouldn't. I don't know.
Unless you're over 5'8".
I guess so. What else? I'm not looking at a list or anything. I'm just remembering. So sorry if this is scatterbrain energy of the deets. But I think that's like the big ones. Was there anything else? They're gonna have a camera, so that's cool. Oh, and there's a C button. That was the big thing. They made a big deal about the C button, and that's like the chat button. So it's interesting. They're basically like copying Discord, like the layout and the way that like the cameras like overlay, and then it has like a green outline when you talk. It's like just like Discord. Like I don't know if you're gonna get away with this, but I guess they'll be fine. Um, and it looks nice, if you're into that. So, yeah, cool chatting. I hope that you can maybe turn off the C button because I don't want to bump it and accidentally get sent
Yeah.
to chat zone. But I think the C button is like under the home button on the right Joy-Con, so it's like way down there. I don't so maybe you might not need to turn it off. And on like the Pro controller that they're making for it, it's in like the bottom center, like where the PlayStation button is on a DualShock 4 or a DualSense or whatever. So I don't think you're gonna accidentally bump it. So I guess just ignore it for the most part. Um, but yeah, I guess now we can get into the games, the big games. Let's talk about Mario Kart. That was the one that they led with. That was the one that we knew was going to be here. But we got a name for it. It's Mario Kart World. And it's interesting. This is a different Mario Kart. They're switching up the formula, which I'm a big fan of. I think the Switch era, or at least the beginning of the Switch era, was kind of like perfecting the formulas. I think like Breath of the Wild was like a perfect. I mean, it isn't like the other Zelda games, but it's like recapturing that spirit from the first game. Mario Odyssey is kind of this big culmination of everything that made 3D Mario great. And now it seems like they're going like full on like experimenting mode with Mario Kart World. And I guess the other big games that are coming out, which we'll get to. But this is interesting because it's an open world game, kind of, which I was kind of surprised by. But that concept, at least with what they gave us, seems to be like really interesting, and that the all of the maps that you can race on are all connected in different worlds, kind of based on themes. So there's like different biomes, and all the different tracks that would fit in those biomes are all kind of grouped together. And then the Grand Prix would just be going from one side of that biome to the end of that biome. So they're all kind of like thematically tied together. But then there's also modes where like you can go from one biome to another, and it's like this big, like a cross country race. And so then like you go from one track to another, and also uh, the tracks. Once you finish a track, you have to drive to the next track. It isn't just a loading screen like it has been for all of the Mario Kart games. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know how that's going to work, especially because, I don't think it would make all four races one big race. I would have to imagine that, like, once you get to the next track, then you have to wait for everyone else to get there. But also, there's 32 racers on the track at once. And I think for comparison, is Mario Kart 8, is that 10? Does that sound right?
I think so.
10 or 8? It's not anywhere close to
It's 10.
32.
Yeah.
Um, which I mean, they were showing like some of the characters, and I mean, like, this is gonna be a really fleshed out roster. Like, pretty much every single Mario character you can think of, except for any of the RPG characters, because who cares? Am I right?
For you,
I just said that to piss off a very vocal group of people.
they don't
Um,
matter.
I mean, I like the Mario RPG games too. It's just I wouldn't go into this expecting that Gino from Mario RPG is going to be in it. People
I
have
just want
been
my villagers.
they want what?
I just want my villagers.
Villager? I don't know. They didn't have any cross
I didn't see it. Yeah.
yeah. But they had like all the Yoshis. They had new Donkey Kong.
Hmm.
Um I don't know if we need to talk about that. I think it's fine. I feel like I'm in the minority. There's either people that are like, this is a great change, or it's like, what did they do to my boy? And I'm a big Donkey Kong fan. He's like my favorite character, mainly because he just likes to smash things, and I like that. He's a very simple guy. He likes to chill and eat bananas and smash things when people steal his bananas, which I kind of identify with in a weird way.
Pretty sick.
Pretty sick. I'm a big DK fan. And when I saw his redesign in the Mario Kart World little teaser we got for it, I'm like, oh no, they just modeled him after the Mario movie. This is so sad. But I think they were modeling it after the Donkey Kong game that's coming out that we'll talk
Yeah.
about. We'll talk about. Uh, but yeah, I think like everyone. Oh, and then there's like different outfits, like
Hmm.
outfits that you can get as like power ups. I don't know if that will affect how you drive. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But there's like a lot of really great stuff. I mean, it looks great. And there's a cow from Moo Moo Meadows. I forgot that the cow from Moo Moo
Yeah, I'm
Meadows
so
was a
excited to
racer.
play the cow.
That's like such a niche pull. I am very excited for when this game comes out and Gino is not in the game, but Moo Moo Meadows cow made the list. Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, I don't know. Pretty much everything about it I liked. There wasn't anything particularly in the Mario Kart trailer that was like, uh-oh. It actually looked pretty sick. Of all of the games, um, I'd say this one is going to be a surefire hit.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's a Mario Kart game, uh, and I think it's going to be a very nice. What did you think of Mario Kart World?
I'm excited. I feel like uh I like that they're changing the formula a little bit
Yeah,
because I think the 8 Deluxe with all those DLCs kind of like that's the ultimate Mario Kart game right now.
yeah,
So this seems to kind of expand on all of that in a way that just makes sense.
I think so. I
I
think
just
so.
love couch gaming with other people, and there's
Yeah,
it's becoming extinct. So
it
I'll
is.
take I'll take it.
Yeah, it's just Nintendo and Joseph that are
Yep.
carrying the torch, which I've heard really great things about that
I
new
have
Joseph
two. I
game.
just haven't bought it yet. We're trying to figure out how to do that because we don't have a console.
Oh, yeah, that would be a trick. I mean, I think it's coming out on the Switch too. So if you end
Yeah,
up
if it is,
eventually
then
getting
we'll
one,
definitely get it. Yeah, we'll probably get a Switch too.
yeah, because I think it said it was one of the trailers. Split Fiction
Oh,
was,
okay, sweet,
so
good.
it'll be there. I
Excited
don't know
about that.
when.
Seems like the most intense Yosef game so far. So
I haven't seen anything about it. I've just heard it's
I've
good.
seen little bits and pieces, but like the stuff they have you doing is crazy compared to what
R-
the other
Oh,
games we've played are. So
okay. Well, I'm interested in that. I think it'll be very cool and nice. Um, but yeah, that's Mario Kart. I'm a big fan of Mario Kart, and I think this will be a good one. I think.
I hope
Um,
so.
yeah. Um, we'll just talk about like the new games, I guess. There's a bunch of games that are getting Switch 2 editions, which I actually like. If it is like how PlayStation does them, when like the PlayStation 5 came out and then they made like PS5 editions of late era PS4 games, they would only like be like, it's like a $10 upgrade. And you get like it isn't like a ton of stuff, but hey, maybe there's an extra area, and it'll like increase your resolution and whatever. And I think that's fine. You know, it's basically nothing, and the game is just a little bit better. So why not? And if that is going to be the case for these Nintendo Switch 2 editions, then I think that will be nice. If they are $80 each, that is not nice. Um, but some of the games getting these special editions are Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Those will be getting better frame rates, faster load times, better gram fix. And then there's a cheating mode where you can look up where the Korok seeds are that are near you. I like that, I guess. I actually don't, but it's fine. It's whatever. I don't care. The Kirby game, the Kirby 3D platformer that came out on the Switch is getting a new one. Prime 4 is Mario Kart Jamboree, not Mario Kart, Mario Party Jamboree, which I have not played. Is that a good one?
The big one. I think that's the one where you can do like 30-player games.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
Maybe someday.
I don't know that many people.
That's a good point. Is that pretty much it? There's a Pokemon Legends Z to A.
Yeah, that was the one they showed a couple weeks ago. Which I am more excited knowing that it's going to be in the Switch too. So I think it's going to kind of knock the first Legends out of the water in terms of actual functionality of it.
We
Because
can
I think
only
they went a
hope.
little ambitious with that game.
Yes.
I think the hardware limitations they had were pretty grand.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I was gonna say it'll be interesting to see what the Pokemon company will do with like actually good hardware, but they
Yeah.
they had their
But
shot.
like they're getting away from turn-based now, so it's all going to be kind of like
Hmm.
quicker paced.
Okay,
So that might result in some interesting like differences.
maybe.
It's also in one big city now instead of just like an entire landscape. So I don't know.
Hmm. I don't know. I won't get it, but
I'll get it because I'm a shill, but
you are a shill, and that's fine. Everybody's got to be a shill of something.
exactly.
Yeah. And usually people are shills for something that are bad.
True.
So
Pokemon is just continuously mid. It provides
that's
me joy
fine.
for a good 10 hours of my life.
Well, that's fine.
And that's
That's
good
all it
enough.
needs to be. But I think that's it. That's it for the Switch 2 editions. Other games that are coming out. Uh, I was on a roller coaster with the Kirby Air Riders trailer because it starts and it's like the star falling down, and then like there's like a slash across the screen, and I was like, no way. They're announcing like a new Smash game because that was like how they opened the old Smash trailers with like these slashes that would come together. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But then it wasn't. It was just a Kirby's Air Ride sequel, which is a game that has a very small and niche like sub community that still like that game. But I think the vast majority of people have no idea what Kirby's Air Ride is because it was a game that came out on the GameCube and I don't think it sold very well. So yeah, I could never get into it. Well, I guess we had a friend growing up that was super into it, and then I tried to play it, and I couldn't get my car to go. So that was a big issue. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I'm sure I could figure it out now, but I was just very confused as a young child on how to go. And then our other friend would get all of the pieces of the Dragoon and then blast me as I was a sitting target. So I don't really have many fond memories of Kirby's Air Ride. In fact, most of my memories tied to this game are negative, a bit of being pwned when I couldn't do anything about it. Uh, I can't believe I just used that word in 2025, but that's fine. I swear I don't usually talk like this. It's just I just need to get
Switch
that out
2
of the
brought it
way.
out of me.
I guess so. But they're making a new one, Kirby Air Riders. They're doing the aliens thing, um, which I think is interesting. I don't think we didn't get like anything. The only thing we got was this little like cinematic teaser, and then it was like directed by Masahiro Sakurai. And if you didn't know that that was the guy that directed the Smash Brothers games and a lot of the like main Kirby entries, that would mean absolutely nothing to you. But Kirby fans know what that means. And I guess Smash fan do more people know about Sakurai than I think? Is he more of a
Probably.
name? Okay. I'm just like what I'm trying to do is put myself in like a casual Nintendo fan. Because as like a kid, I maybe knew who Shigeru Miyamoto was, but I didn't really know anyone else. So like I'm trying to put myself in the eyes of a child watching this be like, "Oh, new Kirby game." And the only information is, "Oh, it's directed by some guy." That's cool.
That's
that's
awesome.
that's awesome. I love Masahiro Sakurai. Oh, that guy's awesome. But I mean, as someone who knows who that is a pretty good sign. I feel like Sakurai only makes good games, or at least has in the last 15 years or so. I think his only main game outside of Smash in a hot minute was, is it Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS, which people are a big fan of. I've never played it, but there you go. So that's just Kirby Air Riders. I think the one of the other first party games they announced. This is going to be the new ARMS, but it's called Drag X Drive Wheelchair Basketball.
Yo,
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to play Rocket League, but instead of fast cars flying through the air, you're in a wheelchair?
actually, yes.
Well, wait until you hear how you control it because it isn't, you don't use a joystick. You use the mouse controls.
Oh,
That
jeez, I
that
forgot
was
about that.
something that I forgot to mention is that the Switch 2 Joy-Cons have mouse controls. So the part that docks into the Switch, you put on a table, and then the trigger is like the mouse button, and then you can move it around, and it's like a mouse. I don't know how that's going to
Genius.
work. I don't know how that's going to feel. If it feels great, maybe this is like an actual, like, genuine good way to play FPS games. In a perfect world, if the mouse controls work great, maybe playing Call of Duty on the Switch isn't such a laughable prospect in the future.
Yeah, but if I join a Valorant game and the dude's playing on a Switch, I'm leaving.
Well, that's fair. I'm not saying use it competitively. I'm saying in Call of Duty. I was very
Yeah,
particular. If someone, yeah, if they ported
spoiled for you,
Counter-Strike 2 to the Switch, that would be a bad move. uh, but yeah, so you control the wheelchair basketball players with the mouse controls. Um, it looked weird. It looks like weird and industrial. It looks very anti-Nintendo in a lot of ways. Like it's all robots and they're like gray steel. They have like some colored LEDs, but otherwise the world is like gray and muted. It's like I'm watching, it's like A24 or something teamed up with Nintendo. And not like a good A24 movie, like a bland one. And it's just like, oh, this is so real. Oh, I'm sure it'll be fun. I won't play it, but I also didn't play ARMS, probably for the same reason. This kind of seems like a gimmick game that Nintendo is making to kind of like show off the hard way, which is fine. But I'm not going to play it, even if it's the best game ever made. But I guess we'll see. Okay, the only other first party game that they announced is Donkey Kong Bonanza. Uh,
bananas.
Bananas, which looks interesting. So this is the it's not quite the first 3D platformer that Donkey Kong was in. Of course, Donkey Kong 64 may be the best game ever made. A game that I have not played past the first level because it is so infuriatingly dumb in the way that it like locks off content that I hate it. And I love Rare. And I think Grant Kirkhope, who did like the soundtrack for Banjo Kazooie, also did the soundtrack for Donkey Kong 64, which does mean that he did compose the Donkey Kong rap. So I guess he is probably the best
Legend.
soundtrack composer ever. But yeah, that's the only other one, and that one was not very good. I'll say it. It it has some potential, but you have to play through every single level 5 times because they color code bananas to each character that you can control, and you can't like switch on the fly. You have to like find a character switch barrel. And then you have to play through the entire level and get all the bananas. And then you go back to the barrel and switch to a different Kong. And there's 5 of them. You have to go and do all this stuff. It's very repetitive, and that's not how you make a good 3D collectathon. Um, I don't know how they went from Banjo Kazooie to that. I'll just say that. But Donkey Kong Bonanza is interesting, mainly because this is Nintendo's A team making a Donkey Kong game for the first time since Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, maybe. Donkey Kong has never been developed by a main Nintendo developer since the 80s. I'm just going to say that because the Donkey Kong Country games were made by Rare. Donkey Kong 64 was made by Rare. And then Donkey Kong Country Returns, and those 2 games were made by Retro Studios. And so when this game was announced, the first thing I looked up was who's developing this game, because it's no way it's Nintendo. And I'm pretty sure it's the Odyssey team. It's the same team that made Super Mario Odyssey is making the new Donkey Kong game, which I think is awesome. I love that they're really leading with their bussy, if I am allowed to use that phrase.
Of course.
Because they're putting everything into this. They're loading this up with the A team. They redid Donkey Kong. They gave him a new design, which I think is fair, mainly because this is the first Donkey Kong game made by Nintendo. That Donkey Kong redesign was not made by them. The one that gave him the tie, that was Rare. Rare just gave him a tie because they thought he would look cool with a tie, and they were American. Which is why there's like a big difference between the Donkey Kong without a tie and the Donkey Kong with a tie. Because the Donkey Kong without a tie is actually Cranky Kong, but younger, because it's a prequel. There's very strict lore in the Donkey Kong universe. But now there's a new Donkey Kong. I was a little bit sad because he doesn't have Diddy Kong on his back. He has Purple Rock Monster. And that's just
given the current state.
Huh?
I don't know if you can be rolling out Diddy Kong right now.
There's no way. There's no way that's the actual reason, right?
It'd be funny though.
There's no way. This game has been in development for at least 2 years. Did we know about Diddy for that long?
It's over. It's been a while.
Oh no. If that's it, did I see Diddy Kong in the Mario Kart world? I actually don't remember. I don't know if I did.
They got to rename him.
Oh, that sucks. If they get rid of Diddy Kong because of Diddy, that's gonna be very unfortunate. Is Diddy Kong named after Diddy?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a weird coincidence.
Wait, Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong predates P. Diddy. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, that was like 80s, and Diddy was like 90s.
Well, Diddy Kong was first made for Donkey Kong Country, which would have been in early 90s.
Ah,
But I think the distinction is that P. Diddy was going by Puff Daddy. He
yes,
wasn't
before
going
he,
by P.
yeah,
Diddy at that time.
correct.
Um, yeah, it does. Oh, this sucks. This is bad. I um, it, frick. It does look like that they did. Wait, why? Actually, I don't know. It looks like that they may have submitted a name change. Wait, why would they need a name change application? I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I was going to say that they changed their name to Little Kong, but then I looked at the source, and the source was Nature Pacific Pest Services, so I feel like I can't trust that.
Diddy Jr.
Well, yeah, Diddy Jr. I don't know. I don't know. Um, it is just sad that Diddy Kong is not there because he's a chill dude too. He wears a cool
True.
hat and he has a cool shirt on. And his hat says the Nintendo logo, and I wish I had a hat just like that so I could be a complete shill. Actually, a red hat with a white Nintendo logo, they
Yeah,
might have had to
exactly.
cut
That's been
that
off
too.
limits too. Yep. This whole thing is just nope.
Diddy Kong is canceled due to woke.
For nothing of his own fault is not there at all.
Diddy Kong didn't do anything.
Just unfortunate circumstances.
People see Diddy Kong from a distance and like, is that some sort of fascist pedophile that loves oil? Oh no. Well, I guess. Well, why didn't they? Well, I was gonna say why didn't they do Dixie Kong, but I guess you would have to rechange that name too if the Dixie
Uh,
Chicks had to change their name.
that's true. They're just the chicks now.
I guess it could be Funky Kong, but Funky Kong doesn't really
Funky
sit on
Kong
Donkey Kong.
yeah,
Cranky
Funky
Kong.
Kong exists. So
Yeah, I don't know. Cranky Kong did sit on Donkey Kong's back in the Frozen Ape game.
hmm
So I guess they could do Cranky Kong, but I guess I wouldn't necessarily want him on my back. I'd rather have Diddy
yeah, he's
Kong.
kind of big.
He's a big guy and he's supposed to just chill in a chair, run the store and say, "You young whippersnappers, take this big banana," which I think is fun and cool. We haven't talked about the game at all. Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's a 3D action platformer with like completely destructible environments. It's awesome. He's just a big ape that can destroy anything and everything. This game also continues the tradition of Donkey Kong not having a set villain. I don't know, except for like King K. Rool, he was the bad guy for the first three Donkey Kong Country games. Every single Donkey Kong game since then has had a different antagonist to the point where I don't know if most people knew who King K. Rool is before they put him in Smash. So uh, I don't know if that's a problem, but the main bad guy cast for this game is three monkeys, and one of them is oddly feminine shaped, which I guess there is already Candy Kong, so I guess I can't say anything, but it looks weird in HD. I'll just say that. Uh, yeah, it looks fun and cool, and there's mine carts and barrels, so looks good to me. Big Donkey Kong head gives a big thumbs up. Okay, let's talk about why I think that they're really swinging for the fences with this one. Really trying to position themselves as the quadruple A forerunner. Uh, First of all, let's talk about some of the non first party games that were announced. Um, First of all, Deltarune is getting the newest chapters. I don't know if they're getting it first. I think it would be weird if they got it
On
first.
Switch?
Yeah,
That's weird.
I don't know. I saw that they're getting chapters 3 and 4, and
Uh-huh.
that's on June 5th. I don't know.
Oh, is it actually coming out?
I don't know. Well, yes, I know that's when it's coming out on Switch. I don't know if that's when it's coming out everywhere because there's a lot of stuff in this direct that is exclusive. Okay. Uh it does have June 5th on Steam. So that's when it's coming out
Okay,
everywhere. So Deltarune
neat.
is getting same release date everywhere. Um oh yeah, Hades 2 will be getting its 1.0 exclusively on Switch 2 before everywhere else, which I think is kind of crazy. Also, uh, they're getting a G-Dang James Bond game that's made by IO Interactive, aka the people that make all the Hitman games. If that's not like absolutely perfect choice for who should develop a James Bond game, I don't know. I honestly can't think of anyone better. That's so G-Dang good. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I think IO has really proven themselves in the last like 10 years with their World of Assassination game. The newest trilogy is so G-Dang good. If you have not played the new Hitman games, please do yourself a favor and do that because they are a lot of fun. And not as serious as you may be. If you are not aware of the Hitman
They're goofy.
series, they're very goofy. Um, Even though like the actual story of it is somewhat serious, in that like you're dealing with like globe trotting secret societies that are doing all this evil stuff, but you can like huck a like briefcase like up 2 stories and it like locks onto them as a homing rocket. It's insane, and you can also dress up as a flamingo in Miami, which is pretty sick. So yeah, I think that's going to be pretty cool. And also, they're getting an exclusive FromSoft game. It's called The Dusk Bloods. And when that trailer first started, I thought that that they were going to be making Bloodborne 2 exclusive to the Switch too, and I was like,
Be the
that's
biggest
insane.
boss move ever made.
That would have been so that would have blown my mind, honestly. To go from Bloodborne being a PS4 exclusive to Bloodborne 2 being a Switch 2 exclusive, that would have been
Crazy.
crazy. It's not. It's a fully original game. Or I guess whatever. It's a new IP that FromSoft is making. It seems to be kind of Souls-like, but also kind of different. I do like that FromSoft is making these big, uh, like experiments now. I mean, Elder's Ring was a big switch up for them, and that it was like all open world. You didn't have like a hub world, go to different levels or different areas. And I guess Sekiro is kind of like that, but Sekiro is very linear. Elden Ring is very open. Um, and so I don't know totally what the deal is with the Dusk Bloods. I know you're playing as a vampire, which any game that lets you play as a
Score.
bad guy is awesome. Very cool with that. I did see that. Well, I guess this is podcast timing, but they're going to be doing a like developer diary series with Hidetaka Miyazaki, he's directing this game, which is a great sign. First of all, because he has I think he's directed all of the mainline Souls-like games. I think I know he did Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and I think he did Sekiro. I don't know if he did Bloodborne, but I think he did. I'm not sure. It just looks cool. It's very gothic, which is why I thought it was Bloodborne. But I think instead of focusing on like cosmic horror, it's like gothic horror. So more on like kind of spooky monsters and ghouls and ghosts, which I think is I like that. So it's very interesting. I think it's like more I don't know, like co-op. It's interesting. It's listed as a PvPvE, which would mean like but I guess you could categorize all of them like that because you can attack players and the environment and you can work together with other players but also kill them. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's a baller move to say that we have an exclusive FromSoft game directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki coming out on our console exclusively. So that's pretty cool. It's coming out next year, so we have some time, but that's okay. Is that it? I think that's mostly it. Oh, this is a big thing that was a big for me. I don't know if it is for a lot of people, but Enter the Gungeon 2 was announced in this direct. I'm like, oh hell yeah. I didn't know they were making a sequel to that game. It isn't pixel art anymore, and now it's 3D. Which, it's fine. I guess we'll see. But looks cool. Also, the casually dropped Silk Song is coming out this year, which I thought was hilarious. Um, that community has been like waiting for the new Hollow Knight game to come out for so long. And then it was just like in a montage. They didn't even linger on it, didn't give it any time. It was just like 5 seconds of
Deltarune fans got more than they did,
they did. They did. Which I guess Deltarune is also
which
highly
still
anticipated.
deserved. Yeah,
But
I've been waiting for that to come out for like 5 years. So.
yeah, I don't know how long Silk Song. When did Hollow Knight 1 come out? Like 2017?
Yeah, it has to be even longer.
You think so?
It's crazy. I feel like it's around that time.
February 2017. Yeah. But does Silk Song on Steam doesn't have a release date, even though it said on the Switch Direct. I hope that if Switch 2 gets Silk Song before everyone else, that's gonna be insane. That might be like one of the highest anticipated games right now. For good reason, because Hollow Knight is a great game. So play that if you haven't. Also, Cyberpunk is coming to Switch 2. That's all I have to say about Switch 2. Let's talk about gaming. What does this move mean for the greater gaming scene? Because as of right now, there's really one voice to be taken seriously, and that's PlayStation. And even then, you know, woke. That's what I'm saying. They're all woke at PlayStation. I just hate the wokies. Yeah, they keep having women be the leader, the protagonist in all these games, and I can't stand it. And now they're like infecting other game studios. I would just wanted to play a Star Wars game, but then they made the Star Wars Scoundrel game have a female lead, and that made me want to die. So I swatted the creative director's house or something. That's all a lie. It's actually a man. But the gaming. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. I was being a gamer right there. For the record, that wasn't actually me.
Into the bit.
It was a bit. You got me. I actually love woke. What is woke? What is woke?
Nobody's figured it out yet.
Nobody's figured it out. I don't know how to be pro or anti woke. All I know is that The Last of Us 2 came out on PC, and its top tag on Steam is LGBTQ+. And I can't even say that without stumbling over it. So much of a mouthful. I would say that the first tag for Last of Us Part 2 would be zombie, and then it would be gay. Actually, or women. Women would be a good tag. Actually, I think the gay tag is actually, I don't know if it needs to be number one, but it's a big part of that game. Not that I have a problem with that. I just stole Jerry Seinfeld joke. That's fine. Okay, yeah, so PlayStation is really the only console that you should take seriously. Xbox has basically said over the last 6 months that they're done, that they gave up. They're throwing in the towel. I think they're not going to
the Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. They're like, It's so weird. I don't know what Phil Spencer's been like snorting or what people are telling him because he's just like, yeah, I don't know. This whole like console exclusivity thing, I don't like it. I just want all of our games to be everywhere. And not that like I'm not like this free market capitalist that's like, oh, well, competition, competition. But like, why even get an Xbox if all of the games are going to be everywhere? Then why even? Especially because Xbox doesn't really make games anymore. Uh, I'm trying to think of the last Xbox game. I guess maybe you could count Indiana Jones, but as of right now, Indiana Jones is on Steam and I think it's on PS5. It might be on Switch 2 when it comes out. I don't know. Uh, but I don't know. That just kind of goes to show you that like you either get an Xbox for like 2 months of exclusivity, or you can get like a PlayStation, which is the only place that you can play PlayStation games, at least for like a year and a half, and then they'll eventually add them to Steam, like they just did with Last of Us 2 Remastered, which came out like
Deluxe 2,
Deluxe 2.
Game of the Year edition.
I think what I don't know. I think it adds like the roguelike thing that they added. Um the I don't remember. I don't think I ever played it. The roguelike mode that they added. Um yeah. I don't know. Looks interesting, I guess. But that's the reason you shouldn't get an Xbox. I don't think that they're gonna make another Xbox after this. I would honestly be shocked. I think the Xbox One completely shot all momentum that they had in that brand going forward. And then I don't think this series, first of all, should have picked a better name. The Xbox
Yeah.
Series? Come on. So that's probably why they failed. So I don't think they're going to make another one. I think they're going to just be a game publisher, which I honestly think is a better move. If they just want to make a game, a couple games a year, sit back and, watch cash go up, don't have to worry about console sales or that whole wing of it, I think that's probably a good call. Especially because I think as of right now, they're like the Sony or the Sega Dreamcast. Everyone else is kind of having fun, making a bunch of cash, and then Sega's like, "We're still relevant, guys. Remember us?" And then they went out of business like 2 years later. Um, I think that's kind of what's going to happen with Xbox. So, in terms of like stocks, I would put them very low. I would say sell your Xbox stocks because I'm a big time economist. Um, but I think as of right now, of stuff that I know is coming out, I think I'm more excited for Switch 2 games than I am for PlayStation games. And I think that's interesting. I don't know if you asked me a year ago if I ever would have saw myself being in this position. I think I would have laughed and said, that Switch, I haven't played it in 2 years. Um, but now, Nintendo's back, baby. Whether or not it's going to be a full on like console war like it was in the 90s between Sega and Nintendo will be seen, I guess. But I do think it's interesting that I think Nintendo is done being in their weird little corner doing whatever they want, and they seem to be going for more mainstream appeal. So I don't know. It's an interesting move. I didn't see it. I didn't know that Nintendo made risks anymore on a business level, but here we are. So there we
Making a
go.
Mario movie gets you, I guess.
I guess so. I guess so. And now they have a theme park. Is Nintendo? Are they trying to be Disney?
They're the next Disney.
Uh, I hope
I
not.
doubt it.
I hope not. I don't know. I It could be well, there might be some parallels here with like I think that like you could categorize the Wii U through like the end of well, maybe the middle of the Switch era. Like by the end of this Switch era, I think everyone has one now. But like that weird era, you could like say that it's kind of similar to the like Disney's dark ages in like the 80s before the Disney Renaissance. Whether or not Nintendo will have the same trajectory that Disney had, I guess, we'll see. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's interesting the way that the console wars have played out, especially because Xbox and PlayStation were like, that was like a real debate in like 2013, like whether or not you should get like a PS3 or an Xbox 360 by the end of both of those consoles' lifespans. I think there was a good and honest debate as to which one was better. Because the PS3 ended up getting some good exclusive games by the end of the lifespan, and then most Xbox 360s exploded. So
True.
I don't know. Although I think most people would say that the Xbox 360 won that generation. I think looking back, I think it was. I think
Revolutionized multiplayer.
it did. It did. Xbox Live, which I guess was
That
also on
voice
the
chat
original
with Xbox
Xbox.
Live. Yeah, that just changed everything.
It did. I mean, the whole reason we're doing this is because of
Yeah.
that. So yeah, definitely revolutionary, but I don't know. There's a lot of good PS3 games, and there's a lot of good
True.
Xbox 360 games. I don't know. I think that generation was just overall pretty solid. And this is coming from someone that has no nostalgia for that era because I was not allowed to get either of those.
It's
I could
unfortunate.
I could only have a Wii because it was
Which was a
exercise.
goated console. So.
It was pretty good. Pretty good. Although I've been trying to get mine to run, and it's not as easy as it was in 2008 or whenever.
Yeah, I don't know if ours runs anymore.
Well, I don't know. It's just weird because I think they designed it in a landscape where living rooms were different. They were
Yeah.
smaller. Because now my couch isn't even that far away from my TV, but if I put my sensor bar like on my entertainment stand, my Wii remote can't reach the sensor bar. It has to be between like 3 and 10 feet. So anything longer than 10 feet away from that sensor bar basically makes it useless and it's jittery. So I have to have like a little table. I have like a laptop table that I have like right in front of my coffee table that I have to put it there and it's very inconvenient. So I didn't remember the Wii giving me that many problems, but I guess my living room was smaller as a child. So uh I don't know. It's just gaming, crazy
Gaming.
stuff. And also PC is where it always is and probably always will be. It's a good
Except
uh
have fun buying any parts. So
well, yeah. It, PC is an interesting beast. I don't think that it will ever become fully mainstream. But also,
getting close though. I know a lot of people that just have a PC and not a console.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's the shift has definitely
there's a
happened.
shift. I think the barrier for entry is so high with PC.
It is. But I
Whether
also work in a field where most people need a high powered computer to do work anyways.
well,
So I
that's
think it
true.
just kind of like
You got
comes with the
selection bias or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, because I doubt like most people like who are interested in video games are like, well, I was interested in video games because I bought a $1,300 gaming PC when I was 7 years
Yeah.
old. It's like I think most people have to make that jump. Um,
Well, now you could get one for 500 that can play most things, just not new releases. At least you
yeah,
could before this week. I don't know how that's gonna change.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a bigger barrier for entry coming up.
Yeah.
But I mean, just even on like the software side of things, like Steam is weird. Like I don't know how to describe what Steam is because you look at like the new and trending tab and there's like actual games. There's maybe one or two actual games and the rest of them are porn games.
That
And
is true.
I don't really know when that spiraled out of control.
Well, they just like let off all restrictions at one point.
I think that was a bad call.
I think so too.
Um, I actually, I feel like I'm such, I come off as such a prude on these podcast episodes, but I don't think there should be like any porn games on Steam. Like it feels
No,
really weird for like the same platform that you can get like AAA studio, like professionally made video games on the same level as like some weird 3D animated porn game. Uh, it's just odd, and I think it doesn't totally mesh. But I guess it is kind of like it does make it kind of a safe space in a way where like there's basically no chance that you're going to download a virus when you buy one of these games. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true. Maybe can you get viruses by
I don't
games?
know if things have to be greenlit
Do they have
officially still. I'm assuming they would have to have some kind of process like that.
I would hope so. I mean, I know
But
that
some of the stuff that they release, I don't know who's looking at that and like, yeah, that can go on Steam.
is the Hitler porn game still on there?
That's what I was like. Yeah, I'm like, is that stuff still on here? Because that's been on there for a while.
Okay, Sex with Hitler is still on there. Uh, oh, they even made a squeakquel. Oh, nice. I can't wait
I
for.
guess it's a libertarian dream on Steam. I guess
Oh,
that's how it works.
I guess so. Wait. Oh, these are all made by the same. Oh, there's so many Hitler games. There. Okay, so there's 5 Sex with Hitler games, if you can believe it. So there's
I can believe it.
Sex with Hitler came out in January of 22. Sex with Hitler 2 came out in December of 22. So it took less than a year to develop. Hitler Bunker BDSM came out in February of 23. So less than 2 months. Uh, and then, of course, the return to form, Sex with Hitler WW2.
Of course.
When else would it happen?
Yep.
I seems like an unnecessary caption, but I guess you have to distinguish it from the first entry. And then, of course, I didn't read it until right now, and it's so lame. The final entry came out in March of 23, same month as Sex with Hitler WW2. It's of course Sex with Hitler 2069.
Whoa. The
So
cyberpunk one.
it's a cyberpunk Sex with Hitler game, and of course it's set in 2069.
We better not monetize because this would not be monetized at this point.
Yeah, we're not monetized. I don't know. And this is all made by one studio. And I don't know if this needs to be said, but it is in incredibly poor taste that these are
Oh,
made
yeah.
and released on like the same site that you can get like GTA 5. Feels weird. So I don't know. PC gaming is odd. I don't know if I would necessarily. Here's the thing, okay? If you had like a 12-year-old that wanted to get into PC gaming, would you let them get on Steam right now?
Probably not. I mean, you can turn filters on for it, but
Yeah,
like, I think there's no
probably.
lock for it. I think you can just like switch it on and off.
It feels so weird. Like you have to like actually sort through porn games in order to find like
Yeah.
actual video
Steam
games.
also has like not a lot of restrictions on what you can name yourself and
Oh,
what your
yeah.
profile image can be and all that stuff. So all the consoles, like there's profanity filters and there's like set profile images.
Yeah. Which I feel like when I was younger, I was like, "Oh, power to the people." But I don't want like hate
There
speech.
was so many slurs
It
in
was
Counter
bad.
Strike back in the day. I'm sure there still is, but
I'm
like it
sure there
was
is.
ridiculous amount.
Yeah. I don't know if that should necessarily fly. I'm all for free speech, of course. I don't know if hate speech is
Well,
cool.
that's not protected under the First Amendment,
It isn't?
technically.
You're
Well,
telling me that
they
hate
say it's
speech
not.
isn't protected by the First
They
Amendment?
say it's not, but I think it kind of
It is?
is. Yeah.
That's interesting. So yeah, that's gaming. It's in a weird spot. Nintendo is jockeying for the top dog spot for the first time in a long time. And yeah, that's that. Uh okay. That's it for gaming. Now it's time to talk about Elvis. A little bit of a change of pace. I don't know if I'm going to have a whole lot to talk about with this one. This is the first movie that he made after coming back from the army. This means that, yes, him and Priscilla have officially met, dated, assumedly smooched, and maybe more. Hopefully not, but maybe. At this rate, I don't trust him. So I don't know. Um, but for reference, let's see how old Elvis was at this point. This movie came out in 1960. That would mean that he is 25, which means that Priscilla is 15. So that's the live update. This movie is called GI Blues, and in continuing the trend of Elvis playing himself, they decided Elvis just came back from being in the army. Let's make a movie where he's in the army. So that's what they did. They even put him in the same platoon as he was in real life, Tank Battalion 3. I doubt that's what it was actually called, but it was a tank battalion, and their patches said 3. So safe to assume they were Tank Battalion 3. It's probably not the actual name, but whatever. And in this movie, Elvis plays a tank shooter. He doesn't shoot, well, he might shoot tanks, but he's like the gunner on a tank. But also, he moonlights as of course, as a performer, a singer in a band, and his sergeant kind of pays for it. I don't know where the sergeant gets all this cash, but he keeps giving Elvis money so that he can perform his great songs to all the people in Germany. And basically, the crux of the story is as one platoon is getting back from Frankfurt, I think. Frankfurt, it's a big German city. They're coming back and they're passing by Elvis's platoon. And they're like, I met this icy dame at the nightclub named Cafe Germany. And she didn't say yes to any of my advances. What a prude bitch. And so Elvis's like squad leader says, well, I'm such a suave, cool guy. I bet I could seduce her in 3 days. And the other guy's like, I bet you couldn't do it in a week. And so then they collect bets. Elvis, being the bright guy that he is, has $300, half of what he needs to start his own nightclub back in the States once he gets honorably discharged. And so he says, I know how I'm going to double that. I'll just put it in the pot for this. But Elvis's platoon leader gets sent to Alaska because he's catching too much tail. That's actually that's not actually what they say, but that's a sentiment, is that this dude is sleeping around with too many German girls, and the German girls' dads are upset and are calling the army saying, you need to stop this soldier from having sex with my daughter. Which feels like a weird thing to do. You should just talk to your daughter, but I guess it was a different time. I guess
I
if your
mean,
daughter,
that's not what the U.S. military is known for, among other horrible
well,
things.
yeah, they are known for impregnating people
Yeah.
all over, especially in Vietnam. I
Yeah,
don't,
not consensually.
No, not consensually. I mean, I think that's just generally what war is, which
Yeah.
sucks. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine a father being like, "You're sleeping with a soldier. I need to call the army about this. I need to get this guy in trouble because
Get
he
the
had
US military on the phone.
get me the U.S. military on the phone. Hello, Sergeant. My daughter had consensual sex with an army man, and I want that to stop." I don't know. Feels a little weird. But he gets sent to Alaska because there's no poon up there, and they know that he's not going to cause any trouble. And so, the bet looks like it's off. But they all say, "Hey, Elvis, you're a pretty suave, cool guy. You're pretty nice with the ladies. You like chasing that tail down the street. Why don't you try to seduce this icy dame in Cafe Germany or whatever it's called?" And Elvis says, "Oh, I guess I can do that." And so that's the crux of the film. Elvis goes to this nightclub. We'll watch the lady dance. She's probably a professional dancer. And she does a dance, and we watch the whole thing. It's like a whole music number where she dances, and it's kind of like a Jessica Rabbit thing. She does like sexy dancing. Um, and she like does the thing where like she pulls on like dudes' ties, trying to get them to like be seduced. But then like the one time that some dude is like, "Oh," and then like touches her waist back, then she's like, "Ah," and then she throws a beer on his head. Um, which I guess is understandable. You shouldn't touch people. But I mean, like, that's kind of the vibe that she was going for. It seemed like that she was okay with it. Like that was very much the vibe of the show. Especially since she was kind of going for audience interaction. Feels like maybe a bit of an overreaction. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a smart guy. So that establishes that she's an icy cold dame. Nobody can break through that icy heart. Nobody can tame that beast. But Elvis does it, and they follow head over heels in love. And but the most predictable thing happens. She finds out that it was a bet, and she says, "I thought you loved me, Elvis." And Elvis says, "I love you, baby." So then she's like, "Okay, I don't know why I was so upset. That's fine with me. I mean, it's yeah, it's cool." So then they just get back together and it's fine and nothing happens. And then the movie ends and it's fun. It's fine. This movie's bad. Not in necessarily a fun way. The movie starts with stock footage of just tanks going in a field. Um, and it's clearly day for night, which is not how you should start a movie, and just blatant day for night, where it's clearly shot in the day and then they just tint it blue and then pass that off as being like they shot it at night. They clearly didn't. Also, most of the movie is shot on a soundstage, and it is very clear when they start cutting from like stock footage of soldiers marching to like close-ups of Elvis just marching in front of rear screen projection. It's like, oh no, don't do that. It looks really bad and terrible. Yeah, that's kind of the theme of this movie is just looking bad. So, I would say don't watch this one. I think by now we're out of the range of Elvis movies that I'm going to be recommending, which is a shame because now we're getting into the bad zone, which I guess he was kind of getting into with a 15-year-old at the time. So that's kind of interesting. But next up, let me see. Where are we at? I think we were at 1960, because that's when GI Blues came out. I think the next one is going to be Flaming Star. Oh, it's this one. Okay, we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week. Um, I'll give you a little sneak peek. Elvis plays the Native American man.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah, that should get you excited. Which I
that should be
guess,
good.
fun fact, I think Elvis was part Cherokee, but, and this is a big but, that's in like the white people being like way distantly related
Yeah,
to a
like
Native
my great great
American.
great 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 grandmother
Yeah.
was half half
Yeah.
native.
That's pretty much it. I think it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we have some distant relations to like some Cherokee
It's so funny
lady.
because like when you do that, like most Americans are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, probably. I'm not.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I don't know what that means. I'm a good blue-blooded American man. Why is that not surprising that I don't have any native heritage? Mhm. Did I do
No
something?
comment.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think your
Well,
ancestors didn't do something, which is
mm,
probably good.
that is probably good. My ancestors were not slaveholders either. They were in the
Yeah.
North. So, which I mean, I guess doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't hold slaves, but I don't think any of them were. In fact, I think my first ancestor that was over here was an indentured servant.
Mm,
So, definitely didn't have the
maybe such
cash.
cases. Hmm.
So, I think he was a teacher. He was a teacher on the Mayflower. So that's pretty fun and cool. I'm part of history because I'm British, so that's fun.
Yep.
It's cool and fun. But yeah, this next week's gonna be fun. Talking about, uh, I mean, to be fair, he's playing like a mixed race. I think he's like half native in the movie. But even then,
He's
Elvis
gonna
was
connect with his
basically
ancestors.
0%, maybe 1% Cherokee. So, yeah, yeah, we'll be talking about it. There's a lot of fun stuff with this movie, with real world stuff, because believe it or not, this was an acclaimed film, and not from what you think. So we'll talk about it next week. I didn't watch another movie. We talked about gaming. That's the other thing. But you have a hit film you wanted to talk about.
I do.
What is it?
Um, I watched the award-winning Flow.
Oh, I need to watch
Yes.
that.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't have a lot to say about it, and that's not a bad thing. I think it speaks for itself in a lot of ways. So
Okay.
there's not really like a lot of commentary or anything special to really say about it. But I do believe the director and the animator like made the 3D software for this
Oh.
movie, which is insane. Um, it looks fantastic. It's this like kind of blend between traditional 3D animation and this kind of um, I don't want to say stop motiony, but I want to say like a 12 FPS kind of feel where it is a little bit choppy, but it's also
Mm.
very smooth in some points. Um, it's an interesting blend. It's not like Spider Verse level,
Hmm.
but like it kind of takes tiny bits of inspiration from the way the frames kind of work in that movie.
Sure.
Um, but the plot's very simple. I love movies that are like universal, where like a 6-year-old could get the same amount of like depth and emotion out of it than like a fully grown adult.
Mm.
Um, that kind of animation stuff doesn't like happen too much nowadays. I don't think outside of the a couple, but
Yeah.
there's always those couple of movies where it's like, wow, the parents love this, the kids love this. There's
Hmm.
a perfect blend. But it's just really sweet. Like it's interesting having a movie with no dialogue because it all is just animal sounds, but
Mm.
the all the emotion conveyed is through body language and things.
Oh.
Um, but it's kind of a Noah's Ark weird mashup thing. It's just this following this black cat and this world that isn't quite Earth, I don't think.
Mm.
It's just animals, it seems. We don't see any people. We see like a human statue,
Mm.
but the world is kind of up to interpretation. It gives the vibe that humans are no more.
Mm.
That is kind of the vibe, whether that's past or future. Um, but it kind of blends that, and basically this cat is living in this kind of I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really like a swampland, but this kind of area. And then there's a gigantic flood that comes and covers the entire uh, Earth as far as we can see, and
Mm.
the animals are smart enough. They pilot a boat, which is crazy. Like they're not like anthropomorphic characters. They're just the animal that you think they are, but they can pilot a boat and do things,
Hmm.
which is interesting. uh, but basically, it's a classic like, my home is gone. I need to do what I can to survive this massive change, and then you get this kind of ragtag bunch of animals to kind of come together and push through this big change, and it's really sweet. You get the black cat. You get a fully domesticated golden retriever, which makes me think like I don't know what the where we are in
Oh, that's a
in
good point.
history or world building, but I love a golden retriever character. I had a golden retriever for like 13 years, so uh, I'm very fond of the golden retriever archetype.
Yeah.
Um, but we got a golden retriever, some like kind of exotic bird that is like hinted at being like a mythological like phoenix type thing, but
Oh,
not really. We have a lemur who is just obsessed with shiny objects.
yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, there's kind of the interplay between all these different animals and groups of like desires that these animals are kind of fighting for.
Hmm.
And they're just kind of piloting a boat and things ensue. And that's pretty much all I can say about it because the plot line is very straightforward, but I don't want to really give anything away because it takes you on a journey and it's a really, really, really good one. So
Hmm.
um, I kind of see where the awards and the Oscars and everything kind of came from for it. I think it's a very, very, very small team, and they pulled it off very well. And it's a very unique style of animation. Um,
Yeah.
it reads as like a kind of timeless tale, which I always enjoy in an animated film. So, um, yeah, there's a lot of fantastic things about it. I don't want to say too much about it because I think it's just best to kind of go in and experience it because I didn't really know what it was about
Hmm.
going in. It's like an hour and 20. It's a very, very, very easy watch. You kind of just put it on and chill out. So, but yeah, it's pretty great. Once you watch it, we can probably have more of a discussion once you get to that eventually.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
watch it soon. I just saw that it was on Max.
yeah, I can't talk about movies too much without getting deep into plot details. It's not my style of talking about things. So I'm just gonna hold all of it
Oh,
until that point. But I did give it 4 stars. I think it's really
nice.
great. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Flow.
Very nice. Yeah, that one was one that I missed. I think I saw a
Mhm.
trailer for it and I was like, "Oh, that looks great." And then by the time I
Yeah,
saw that it came out, it was already gone. So,
yeah, it is on Max now.
it is
So
on
don't know
Max.
how long it's gonna be on Max. I would assume
Well,
quite a while.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely one I've been wanting to see. Another kind of fun fact is that this is a Latvian movie,
Yes,
and
I forgot what country it was from, and I don't want to mess it up. I was like Lithuania or Latvia.
close. Which does mean that this is the second ever movie, non English speaking movie, I guess,
Mhm.
to win Best Animated Feature. Do you know what the first one is?
Frick, I don't.
You don't?
I feel like I do, but I can't think of it right now.
It's Spirited Away.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, it has to be one of
It
those.
has to be one of them.
Yeah.
Which side plug, the newest episode of Love to Mom is going to be on Spirited Away.
Mm.
And I had to catch myself because I was like, we should watch this movie. It's the only animated movie to win, or whatever, best foreign movie to win best
Mhm.
animated feature. And I was like, that's actually wrong. Actually, let me take that back. I
Yep.
forgot that that was just dethroned. So yeah, I'll
Yeah, I
watch
think
Flow.
Princess Mononoke is in IMAX right now too.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It had like a pretty big weekend, I think. And if you have
That's good.
not seen it, go see
I might
it.
have to go see that in IMAX
Yeah.
if we can find time.
It's a masterpiece. One of the best. I'll say that.
Because theaters are looking dry right now, so
They are looking
I'll take
dry.
an IMAX. Yeah.
Yeah. I would go see it in IMAX, but I just watched it like last month. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need to, I don't know if I need to watch it again. But that is cool that they're doing that. And I would be down. They should do that with more of those
They should.
movies. Ponyo feels like it should be like perfect for IMAX, which,
Yeah.
which I know isn't like one that people talk about all the time, but like that movie is very
It's
cinematic.
good. Yeah.
Oh, it's very good. But it's not like, It's not one of the mainstays that everyone talks about.
Mhm.
So that's cool. I'll watch
Neat.
Flow and then we'll talk about it later.
Indeed.
Um, but I think that with that, we'll just pass it on over to
Music.
you. Just get the music done now.
Yippee. Get it over with.
Get it over with.
Um,
I'm so tired.
this was a big old week for music. This was one of the most hyped ones of the year. When we were getting all those release dates kind of flying all over the place. This was kind of the one where all of them kind of congregated to. Um, so I think Lucy will have on the channel. So I won't talk about Lucy, but you'll see our thoughts on that, our
Very
extended
good.
thoughts on the channel very soon. Um, yeah, bottom line, very good. I think people still don't rate her correctly, but that's fine. More for me.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, I think before we get into any of that, I do want to talk about Carrie and Lowell. 10-year
Oh,
anniversary.
yeah.
Yeah. That thing's been out for 10 years and they're doing a exclusive 10-year anniversary vinyl, which looks fantastic. Um, I am buying that immediately. But yeah, yeah, it looks fantastic. I want to get the TPAB 10th anniversary as well. We didn't talk about that, but like
Oh,
this looks so much more put together and like truer to the album than the 10th anniversary for TPAB. I feel like there wasn't a lot of like extra goodies or anything
I
with that.
didn't even know there was a TPAB 10th
There
anniversary.
is. It's very similar to the Good Kid, Mad City, where it's kind of like blacked out and it kind of has a
Oh,
more simple looking uh, setup.
oh,
But
okay.
the Carrie and Lowell 10th anniversary looks fantastic. We get some extra demo songs, I believe.
Yeah,
Um, we get a full art book, which is really cool. Updated cover, which I think is just the original Polaroid of the album that kind of cropped in. So we kind of get
yes.
that uncropped, more scrapbooky feel. But yeah, you get an entire second disc. So we have Death with Dignity demo, a Should Have Known Better demo, Eugene demo, Only Thing demo, Mystery of Love demo,
That's out now.
Wahala Lake Monster. It is out now. And
Hmm.
then the fourth version of 4th of July.
That's right. And it's 13
So
minutes.
couldn't get enough. Oh,
Or wait,
yeah,
almost 14.
this is getting bought immediately. Yeah, this just like shout out to Asthmatic Kitty with this because this
Oh,
is one of the
yeah.
best like 10th anniversary like uh, records I've kind of seen. They look so kind of put together and perfect for what this album is. So,
Yes.
but yeah, 10 years, crazy.
Thank you, Sufjan.
Thank you, Sufjan. He's been doing really good with the anniversary records. So
Yeah,
I know
he's a
the
good old
the
boy.
Seven Swans one was really cool. So,
Oh, yeah. I like that one. So
but
what trope?
yeah, I don't have a single Zoetrope yet. I want to get one
One day. They,
one
they,
day.
they aren't like as. Here's what I will say zoetropes don't work with the naked eye.
Interesting.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pull out your camera for it to work,
Mm.
which is unfortunate, but fine.
That is unfortunate. Okay, in terms of songs this week, I think the only new song came out today as a recording actually. By Storm released another song. Uh Technically brand new. This is Double Trio 2, the sequel to their first Double Trio song.
Huh.
So they have three songs and two of them are Double Trio. uh but this is like a true second song because it is completely different than the first one. Um and it's great. They've been dropping nothing but absolutely perfect songs so far. So I don't know if this is leading up to an album. I'm assuming it is with all the cover arts kind of going together and everything. They just are taking their sweet time announcing it. Um, but I am loving everything I'm hearing. This one has an insane saxophone part in the back half that is just incredible. So, but this one's got a lot of great energy. It's more fun and upbeat than the other two that we've gotten so far. So it is great. The music video is trippy and weird. So check that out if you're into it. It's really, really good. I think when this album comes out, it's gonna change things up again because it's been nothing but bangers so far. Um, in terms of news, Little Sim's album has been pushed back.
What?
I think that was coming out May 9th. It is now coming out June 6th. Um,
Oh
I think she
no.
posted a reasoning and kind of like explanation on socials. I just didn't read it. So Not sure.
Fair enough.
Not. I know she does a lot of acting stuff, so I'm sure there's just a
Oh,
busy schedule or something. And with this whole uh, debacle with inflow and stuff, I'm sure there's a lot on her plate. So,
yeah.
but that's fine. May 9th is a stacked day for releases, so I think it's fine to kind of push this back a little bit. Um, I'm not too mad at it. I got a lot of other albums to kind of talk about during that time. So, um, yeah. Uh, in terms of like stuff that came out, we were supposed to get that Yasin Bey and Alchemist album. That didn't happen, which I kind of expected. So
Oh,
that's just gone. I don't know where it's at
it's
right now.
gone.
So I don't know. They announced it and then nothing has been said about it.
Oh,
Um, so there was also an Erica Badu and Alchemist collab album announced, which is also insane. So
huh.
maybe the Alchemist is just like, I'm just gonna put all these out here and then not release them. I don't know what's going on, but
Weird.
yeah, we'll see. uh, Black Country New Road comes out this week, so we'll have that on the channel in some form. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. There was a listening party at my local record store, but I'm like, I have to listen on the channel,
Of course.
so I don't get the funny coloring books that they're handing out, unfortunately.
All right.
But that's just the burden of the music reviewer, I suppose.
I guess so.
um, but I'm hearing great things so far. I think people are enjoying it, which is good. Uh, so, yeah, that's coming out. In terms of stuff I listened to this week, we got three big ones to talk about. Um, we'll start with spelling. I think she kind of got the short end of the stick this week, so we'll start there.
Okay.
This is the new one, Portrait of My Heart. It is an interesting one. I think there's been a bit of a divisive reception to it based off of the fan base she kind of had going into this. Um, and I don't know, I kind of fall in the middle, I think. I think the album has a lot of good things going for it, but I do think that it is a little bit much at times. She kind of goes away from the like art pop stuff that the Turning Wheel had, which I thought was like really, really, really good. I think the pacing and everything of that record is very good. To a more like, there's almost like a power arena rock sound to a lot of this,
Oh.
which is a change. I think it works with her vocals because she is so dynamic vocally. I think it works either way. But everything this the Turning Wheel is so immaculately produced, where like everything is so well placed and recorded, where there is this like fantastic dynamic range going around. This album kind of shoves everything in your face, like you would expect from like a kind of arena rock, in your face pop rock kind of thing, which I do think we lose a little bit of that kind of magic that I like to kind of hear from her. Um, so it is definitely a more straightforward record. There are some pretty good highlights, though. I think the title track, the opener, is really good. Ammunition was really good as well. That definitely leans into the more like rock arena style that I do. That I think it works the best on that song. Drain was another one that was just like really strange, kind of bringing in this like weird post punk element to it that I really enjoyed. There's a couple of them though where like I think vocally she's too off the deep end for what the instrumental is doing. She's making these like fantastic Kate Bush esque kind of acrobatics, but the instrumental is not doing anything whimsical enough to kind of back that up. So I feel like she's feels kind of out of place. She's more energetic than the instrumentals, um, which isn't a bad thing always. But I don't know if I'm too drawn to the like arena rock huge
Mm.
pumped into my headphones kind of sound all the time on the album. I think it gets a little old at parts, but other parts are genuinely like really fun to kind of get into. Um, the closer is very interesting because I was not expecting a My Bloody Valentine cover of Sometimes
Oh.
as the outro. I didn't know how to feel about it. I do enjoy it. I don't think you can beat the original or get really close to it, in my opinion, with Sometimes because that song is just insane. Um, but she does a good job with it. I do like the vocals are obviously more prominent in it, so you can actually kind of follow along with the lyrics on that. Uh, the one on the actual My Bloody Valentine version, lyrics are buried and that kind of stuff. Um, but the way she kind of takes the instrumental, it's similar at some points, but she takes some liberties in others, and it makes it a different genre of song, which I think works because the song works in both ways. It's a cool outro. It does not live up to the original song. I don't think it needs to. But it was an interesting decision because I saw Kevin Shields as a writer, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And then I get to the last song, I'm like, oh, it actually is a cover. um, It's a cool cover. I enjoy it. But yeah, I don't know. I might have to sit with it more, but it's not like hitting me as much as the Turning Wheel did, because Turning Wheel is just a really, really, really fun art pop album, and I think that kind of fits her style the most. And I think just the range on display on that album is really great. You have these like fantastic acoustic moments, but then you just like go off the deep end with the art pop stuff on that album as well. I think this one is a little bit more, I don't want to say flat, but not as dynamic as that one. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in between. I don't think it's like bad or like a misstep or anything. I think it's just a style shift that I'm not like entirely into. And that's okay. So that was spelling. We'll do Deaf Heaven next. Their new album, Lonely People with Power. This, okay, Deaf Heaven, I've heard Infinite Granite, which is their 2021, which I think is their most different album in their catalog. I have Sunbather on the Wheel as a yikes. This album has solidified that this might be the worst thing you could possibly hear.
Okay.
So, yeah, that might be
Nice.
interesting if we ever get a yikes, and I pick that. I I didn't know what to expect because, bright pink cover and it's got, it's shoegazy, but black gaze is the main genre, and it does live up to that on this album. So Infinite Granite, I think, is more of a traditional, like it has the metal aspects to it, but it lives up to shoegaze in terms of vocals, where it is more of a it fits with the shoegaze aesthetic more. Uh, so this album has like scream vocals for half of it, so I was very like, whoa, this is the same band, which I think just hearing Infinite Granite first kind of put me into a weird, like, this is not what I should expect from this band, which isn't a bad thing. I think that record is pretty good. But this starts off and it is like they are embracing metal so much on this album, from the just like insane drum patterns, um, the screamed vocals for most of it. It's really good. I need to sit with it a lot more. I had a better time listening to it on speakers than I did on headphones. I think in headphones it was a little abrasive because you're taking black metal, which can already be abrasive, and you're mixing it with shoegaze, which is also abrasive on your ears. So I was getting ear fatigue really, really, really quickly. Um, so
I
I
didn't know
stopped
you
kind
could
of
get
halfway
that.
through. Yeah, ear fatigue. I think I have studio headphones with an amplifier too, so like it's you can kind
I don't know where you gone. Hello? 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 I'm all alone. I think he
of way
died.
back.
Are you there?
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
It always does that during my section of the podcast.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't know
why.
why.
So strange. Um, yeah. Anyways, I think a lot of these songs work very, very, very well. The different sections are just it blends like black metal and shoegaze so well. You have these like intense like breakdowns where the drums are so harsh and everything, and it's just full on black metal. And then we have these fantastic kind of airy sections that really bring into that kind of dream pop and shoegaze aspect. That just the flow of it and everything works incredibly well. Um, yeah, I don't know if I can pick out like songs a lot. I know the Garden Route was really fantastic. Amethyst was really cool. I think that song kind of had like the entire range of genres at display. Um, I think the outro, "The Marvelous Orange Tree," is also really really good. I'm finding myself liking the more kind of melodic moments so far, but I think this is one I just need to give a lot more time to, because it is so strikingly different for me. But like my first impressions are pretty good. I've been in the mood for quieter, softer albums lately.
Hmm.
That's just kind of my vibe for the actually the first 4 months of this year. Um, which there will always be a counterbalance to that because it always is with me, and that will probably come next month when the Swans album comes out. Um, so I think a lot of these louder, in your face albums that I've been listening to this year will kind of shine more when I'm kind of into that more, because I had the same issue with the Hurimic album I talked about last week, where it was very abrasive. Um, so yeah, this is one I'm coming back to, and I'm still digging into a lot. But first impressions, it does sound really, really, really good. I just need to really have time to wrap my head around it and listen to it more, because all the different like shifts and everything are just really impressive. But yeah, it's very good. I'm excited to listen to Sunbather eventually. That's about the same length, and it's only 7 tracks instead of 12. So we'll see. That's gonna be a yikes for sure.
Okay.
I don't know what else I have in my yikes, but this might be a really really bad one for you. Um,
Nice.
but I've been mistaken before,
That's
but I kind
true.
of doubt it with this one. I feel like screamo vocals are just a path too far for you
No,
to.
yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, thank you.
I've come around to them in certain situations. I think this is one of the situations where I don't mind it. And with my little metal phase I had, or like, so I was trying to figure out what genres I was enjoying. I kind of got over it a little bit, but it is still distracting depending on what you're listening to.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, very good. This is not my final thoughts on it. This is the first time I'm hearing something like this, and I need time. Um, so I will come back to this. I can see this thing creeping up on my list this year quite a bit, though. Um,
Hmm.
okay, main event. We're talking about the new Backwash album, Only Dust Remains. Um, yeah, this album is fantastic. I just praised Clipping endlessly a couple of weeks ago, and this album can probably live up to those praises almost, um, which is good. I'm really enjoying the range I have this year so far. Um, yeah, this is a very different album for her. I think this is a really good artistic evolution in general. Um, it's very different. I think this is her most different record that I've heard, at least, because her 2021 and 2022 records are very much a horrorcore metal hip hop crossover, um, which works great. I think they both those albums are fantastic. Her 2022 album is, I think, my favorite that she's done so far. Just the intensity of a lot of these tracks is insane, just unbelievably like huge and heavy. But this is a very big tone switch. It's still hip hop and it's still experimental. And there are still rock elements to it, but everything's toned down a little bit where it kind of focuses on her more than the just like intensity of this metal blend that she's got going on here. Because I think lyrically, she has kind of been this way for all these albums where it is so intense and dire and um, kind of hard to listen to at points, but it is covered up by the just insane metal breakdowns and everything that's going on. So it's kind of a balanced thing. This feels more thematic in a way that really makes her the center of the show, but everything kind of supports her and backs her up very, very, very well. Um, the album is a great sequence of tracks. Like it works really well as a cohesive journey and kind of conceptual, but not like over conceptual project. Um, it works so well. Like the intensity in all these songs is great. She's hitting some fantastic runs in terms of like choruses and just really letting out that intensity and emotion that the other records do, but kind of repurposed in a different way here. There's still guitars and like kind of more rock centered drums, live drum kits, that kind of thing. Um, but there's a lot of melodic moments. I want to kind of compare it to like if you took Simbi, the production on that album, and kind of mixed it with this very dark anthemic kind of sound that you would kind of get from a clipping record. It's hard to kind of
Mm.
pin down her sound here, but it's working really well. Um, I've seen a couple Kendrick comparisons on this album, especially. I think she's definitely inspired by him, and you kind of get the weight and intensity that you get on Kendrick albums on this album, which is just really fantastic. Um, yeah, there's a lot of it's hard to listen to at points. There's a lot of like suicidal ideation and stuff like that across it, which if you've been a Backwash fan, it's not going to be like anything new to you. But I think it is a lot more on the forefront just because of how strong her voice is on this record. But her flows are fantastic. Lazarus being the intro was really great. I love this very toned down, like she is in your face, and the instrumental is not doing a lot, so you are just kind of forced to kind of soak up the themes and where we're going here. That's followed by "Wake Up," which I talked about that song last year when it came out. It is incredible then, and it is incredible in the sequence of the album here. The intensity and power of the song is fantastic. And then the way that kind of goes into the album from there, I feel like that's kind of the two intros, and then we kind of get into the dirt of a lot of this stuff. Undesirable is great. Um, yeah, the production style just works so well. Like everything is kind of matched very well, but like the sampling in Undesirable is great. There's some like real points of levity in this album, which is very different for her. Like there's almost a um, there's like a lot of choruses where there's some backing vocals and stuff like that. There's a little bit of gospel influence in a lot of the production, which I think works really well as a contrast point, um, especially with all the talk of like death and all that these kind of themes that show up on this record. Um, and just the themes are fantastic because like you have this black African Canadian immigrant who's a transgender woman living in today's current kind of cycle, and the all of the insanity that comes with that. That's all of the kind of subject matter on this record. So it is
Mm.
constantly heavy and dire and like very apparent, um, and very striking. I think her writing is very good across this thing, but it's like this is a combination of all of the more like alienated identities all kind of bunched into one. Um, and that comes with a lot of stress and turmoil, but it also comes with this power that she's able to display like incredibly well across this thing. Disassociation is a fantastic track in the middle. Uh, I don't really know any of the featured artists on this album, but they all do a fantastic job. The choruses are cool when they bring in featured artists to kind of do some different stuff. Um, but the way that this song kind of has this like very interesting kind of, I don't want to say it's somewhere like electronic chorus, and then by the end of the track you have like full metal and rock drums kind of going coming in. The energy is fantastic. All these tracks just take you on a full journey. That's kind of where the Simbi part comes in, where you have these rises and falls and shifts and tones and everything all within one song. Um, it really just works so well. And I think she produces a lot of this, if not all of it too. So um, just major props there. But a lot of this sounds like the feelings you get when you listen to Introvert, and just the power that that song has is all across this thing.
Mm.
Um, History of Violence is insane. This song is just so heavy. Um, Talking about genocide and all these other things that we've talked about on the podcast over and over and over, because what else are you going to write about and talk about right now? Like
Yeah.
that's, if you are an artist that has tapped into that, that's what's kind of burned into your brain. And she does such a good job navigating it. You can really just feel the tension on all of these tracks here. Stairway to Heaven is also a great moment after that. Um, Again, just going back to these more gospel inspired instrumentals almost with some horns and things. The pacing of everything is just so well done. And then the outro, Only Dust Remains, all of those background vocals kind of coming together into this like grand exit is really fantastic. Um, and the piano is just like a shining light after all of the instrumentals and things that the record has. So it's so good. It's fantastic. Still kind of diving into it because it is a heavier listen. I kind of counterbalance that with Lucy this week, but yeah, it's powerful. It's fantastic. I think when it comes to her albums, this is probably her best made one. I think this and her 2022 are kind of a great compliment because they sound completely different, but they're both kind of similar quality and how good and packaged up they are. Um, but yeah, if you're into experimental hip hop and kind of that more rap rock fusion stuff, you can't really miss this one. It's phenomenal. And it's getting really good reviews too, which I'm glad. I'm glad she's like getting more popularity, because this is a really fantastic effort. I kind of was expecting something grand after the two singles we got, but yeah, the album definitely lives up to that. Um, yeah, my top three this year are all hip hop albums so far. That's
Mm.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had that. In terms of hip hop this year, like it's a fantastic year so far, and none of it is because of like mainstream people dropping.
Wow.
I have
Yeah.
Clipping, Mac Miller, Backwash, Gaius Guevara, Mike, Premrock. All these are just fantastic. That Saba album as well. Um, yeah, we're in a healthy spot right now for this.
Yeah.
And the Billy Woods album coming out next month. Man,
It's true.
crazy. Yeah, I think that's all that I had this week. That's all I've been kind of listening to. I listened to Carrie Low a little bit because it's like, oh, 10 years. Um, but yeah, other than that, that's what I've been jamming.
You're not one to throw on that album.
No, I'm not. I listened to the live version.
Yeah, I do too.
So
It's a good. It's
yeah,
a
that's
good
the only
live
one I
version.
listen to. I'll listen to the regular version when I get the vinyl, but I don't know. The live version just like it alleviates those things for me because I'm like, ooh, boopity bops. 18
That's
minute
true.
blue bucket of gold outro.
It does have what is it? All of Me Wants All of You live is better than the studio version.
I agree, absolutely.
Okay, I'm glad.
Same with yeah. Isn't Drawn to the Blood on there too? That's better
I think
live as
so.
well.
I don't remember what that one sounds like on the top of my head. But every time I listen to the live album, I have to listen to All of Me Wants All of You twice because it slaps so hard.
Hmm.
So, again, thank you, Sufjan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know what else I've listened to. What did I listen to? Oh, I think I've just been listening to Lucy. I think
Hmm.
that's all I've been listening to that's new. I've been listening to that a lot. It's
Yeah,
like
it's good. It's very replayable.
it's very replayable. I'll just sometimes just let it spin and go twice.
Hmm.
It's very nice. I give it a listen if you've not. Watch our video when it's up. And also listen to music by Playboy Cardi.
Yeah. You're not
I
giving that advice to yourself, just other people.
no. I like to practice what some people call hypocrisy,
Mm.
but what I like to call promotion, I guess. They didn't pay me. Although I guess I
It'd
wouldn't
be
be
weird if they did.
opposed. I wouldn't be opposed if Playboy Cardi gave me $1 billion to promote Million music. Is that what it's called?
Music.
What's
Yeah,
it
I
called?
am music, I think.
I am
Wait,
music.
no.
They are
I think it's
music.
called music, but the cover is I am music.
Who's
I get confused.
music?
Um, he is, I guess.
I wouldn't classify Playboy Cardi as music.
Yeah, only sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes he is music. Sometimes he is whatever that song is that you made me listen to.
Uh, Opium
PMF,
Baby.
OPM Baby. That's not music. Well,
Yeah, that song is one of a kind.
it is one of a kind.
Music to my ears, but not in like a good way.
uh, I don't know. I I still can't believe that he released a song that sounds like that.
Yeah. It kind of gets buried in the 30 songs that are on it, but like it's you put it on and it's like, wow,
Wow.
that's that's something.
Yeah. I can't imagine any self-respecting artist listening to that and being like, "That's good. I should put that on an album.
Yeah, we need this on the 30 tracks that are on here. This needs to be one of them.
This has to be. This can't be left on the cutting room floor. This is integral to the project." And I can't assume that Playboy Cardi is not a real, you know, great artist. I have to assume that everything was meticulously planned and released as intended
Of course.
through the artist's
Hmm.
vision.
Yep.
It's the only excuse. That's the only thing I think of. I've also been listening to Marvin Gaye. It's a good singer. If you've not heard of him before, he is a good guy.
Are you listening to this podcast?
Yeah, he has some troubling opinions on there, but I just like the music. You got to learn to separate. Like
Exactly.
I'm a huge fan of Tom McDonald. His
I
music,
separate the art from the art.
yeah. Oh, on a totally unrelated note, I saw Kid Rock the other day.
Oh,
I was at Paisley Park, which is Prince's
uh-huh.
house, and Kid Rock was there. I guess he was doing a show that night, And I guess to kill time during the day, they went and took a tour of the Paisley Park. And so he was like right there. And I was so tempted to be like, hey, remember that song Never Enough? What were you thinking,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Rock? Um, and then I would pull out my phone and play it for him. I'm like, are you aware that this is what this song sounds like?
Yeah.
So I was kind of tempted to do that. But it was weird. He was like going incognito mode because he hid his mullet into a baseball hat.
He wasn't wearing an American flag leather jacket with the big old hat. And...
No, he was like, in like a John Wick movie, when John Wick goes in for a disguise, he just wears like a jacket, pants, and a baseball hat, and the bad guys don't see him.
Interesting.
You know that
Yeah.
vibe?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like kind of a disguise, but not really. Or I guess like anytime a celebrity goes in public, they just throw on a baseball hat and hope that nobody recognizes their face. That's what he was doing. And it was fine. It was kind of funny because one of the people on our tour was like, I'm gonna go see him tonight. And I was like, I wish he wasn't here,
You.
honestly.
Yeah.
I
He's
don't
like,
like
hey,
he's
we're
a
gonna go
bad
this way.
person. Bad guy, Kid Rock. But I was just excited to see a famous person. Because that's the thing, is that even if it was a bad guy, it's just cool that you got to be next to someone in the proximity of someone that matters. Because really, my life and everything that I've ever done will not even come close to the amount of success that Kid Rock has had, or any famous person for that matter. And so it's kind of cool to be in a room with someone that like makes more money than you and is more recognized, because in a way it's kind of like you also make that much money and are known and are cool and like are friends with everybody and everybody likes you because you were in the same room as someone that a lot of people know. So that's a really kind of cool thing about that experience, and that's why I wanted to bring it to this podcast, because it's like, wow, my life was kind of elevated in that moment that I was next to Kid Rock. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just get really excited whenever I meet a celebrity. And like, yeah, I don't like Kid Rock, right? Like, I don't like his music at all. And in fact, he seems like kind of a gross guy. And the turn
Mm-hmm.
that he's made in the last 5 years has been utterly despicable, to say the least. It was just cool. I liked it. I liked being in the same room as Kid Rock. And honestly, when I'm feeling sad or lonely or depressed, I often think about that moment and was like, that was the peak of my life. That everything that I've ever done led to that moment. And from this point on, it's downhill until I meet another celebrity. And then that will be the high point of my life. So, um, if Kevin Spacey or something wants to take a tour in my general vicinity, that would also be cool. Don't like him. Again, I want to really emphasize that I don't really like these people, but it's just that they're more famous. And that's cool.
Of course.
So, have you ever met a famous person?
I don't know. I don't. I don't think so.
You don't know. I think you would know. Okay.
I think I would know. So I guess the answer is no.
Okay. Well, that's something that you and I don't have in common. And that is something
I've
that
met
I
people
will
that are
lord
like
over you.
famous to me, but like not famous to people.
Mm, that's interesting.
You know.
That's interesting. Okay. Famous to you. So like what, your mom? You
Mm-hmm.
met your dad? Famous to you?
Once.
Once. Oh, yeah. I guess so. Pretty tough. This guy, he's a busy guy, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
understand. Busy schedule, that guy. Couldn't play baseball with you, too busy working. But
Yep.
it's all cool now.
That's why I have a podcast.
Yeah. See, that's fine. Sometimes it's cool to have distant dads because then you can just
Mhm.
uh,
Make a podcast.
make a podcast, move on. You don't have those hangups. Don't have to spend time with the old man. You can just go on with your life. Uh, living the dream. I lead a very sad life, I think. Okay, bye.